Alright, apologies for that, everybody. Had to check something. But we're all good. Volumes are good. Good to see you, Ogata-san. Good to see everyone here. So let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Oh, wait. I'm wearing the wrong shirt. Be right back. Hold on. Wearing the wrong shirt. Alright. Now we're good. Alright. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here. Welcome back to yet another reading of JUJUTSU Kaisen. Boy, that last volume has got me concerned. But we're about to see what happens in this volume. Today, we're going to be reading through volume 15 of JUJUTSU, and I only have one more physical volume of JUJUTSU before I have to resort to going to Viz and then reading the chapters for all of you so I can finally catch up to where the series is. Last we left off, Nobara was facing off against a clone of Mahito that he created when he started that little game with both Hanami and Dagon and Jogo, and Nobara was fighting his clone while Yuji was fighting the original. And the fighting got to a head where both the clones started to catch up with each other, and they think that the Mahito's clone is going to rejoin with him, but they both pass each other, and the real Mahito runs into Nobara while the clone clashes with Yuji, and then the volume ends with Mahito touching Nobara's face, and then it started to go back in time when Nobara was 6 years old, going back to her past. So let's see what happens here. Good to see Snow and Zaki Burke. Welcome, OMG. Hi, I love your read-throughs. Well, thank you, Zaki. Hopefully you enjoy this one as well. Let's get started with all these chapters. JUJUTSU Kaisen 15, Volume 15, The Shibuya Incident Transformation. And how many more chapters do we have? The Shibuya Incident just keeps going! We got chapters 125 all the way down to 133. So we actually get a break in calling the titles the Shibuya Incident for this one chapter, but the rest of them are just called the Shibuya Incidents Part 43 all the way down to 50. How long is this gonna go? I got a sneeze that's trying to creep up on me. It's probably gonna wait until I get into a full-on conversation. Let's go ahead and get started with today's chapter. Chapter 125, A Story About That Girl. And then we have some narration. I'm guessing this is Nobara. Yes. You're gonna be using it until the 6th grade, are you sure? That's what my mom said, but I wanted a light blue backpack for school. A pastel-colored one. I moved to this village around the time I started elementary school. My parents were worried about the inconveniences of living in the country, but I was just sad that I had to say goodbye to my friends. 19 students in the entire school. Not even enough for one class at a regular school. Everyone had either a red or black backpack. I like red and black, but most people don't seem to like light blue. Nobara, on the other hand... Hey, Fumi, your backpack. Nobara, on the other hand... Let's trade. And this is a young Nobara. Nobara, on the other hand, wanted my backpack. Let's trade. And Fumi, not Fuyumi, but Fumi, a young Fumi is staring at her going, huh? Chapter 125, A Story About That Girl. And apparently, in this one panel, it shows that Nobara was a rowdy person, as she was apparently beating up some other kids while a teacher comes up to try and chastise her. I ended up getting my backpack after school. You know, I really don't like school backpacks. And Nobara kicks her backpack across the floor. After that day, Nobara would stop by my house all the time and play Smash Brothers with my dad. Nobara didn't like the people in the village. This village is so small. It's harder to be a stranger here than to make friends. Isn't that a good thing? I thought to myself. Several years later, an old lady from the neighborhood brought red bean rice to celebrate my womanhood. At that moment, I understood why Nobara felt so uncomfortable.
I found a secret base!
And this is during the snowy time around where Nobara and Fumi lived. Nobara would say things like a grown-up, but would then suddenly say stuff like this.
I'm gonna live there starting today.
Looking back now, I realized that someone must have been influencing the way she spoke. Like maybe her mom.
Here!
And then we cut to a really big house. And Fumi's just looking on, kind of sweating a little bit. What Nobara called it, and it looks like a mansion a little bit. What Nobara called a secret base was actually someone's house. You really came. And a woman comes out of the door. Welcome, it must have been cold on your way here. Saori was a girl who moved to the village after I did. She always greeted our unexpected visits with a smile on her face. Now that I think about it, she was always at home. Nobara changed after meeting Saori.
How true, is that so?
You sound like that TV personality Matsuko. The way she spoke became softer.
Fumi, can I practice braiding your hair again?
How should I put this? Again? She became more refined. Saori and I were both outsiders, but we couldn't be less alike. But then, things started to change at Saori's house. Their house was vandalized. Snow was intentionally piled up in the front. Their beautiful house was left a shadow of its former self. Soon after, Saori moved out of the village. Nobara and I went to say goodbye, but I can hardly remember who said what or even what the weather was like. All I really remember, is Nobara's messy crying face. So she does cry. I think I was so surprised by that fact that I wasn't able to remember much else. Last June, Nobara transferred to a high school in Tokyo. Apparently, she had to start school late because her grandma refused to let her go. Refused to let her to go? A little bit of a typo here. Apparently, she had to start school late. Apparently, she had to start school late because her grandma refused to let her go. And then we cut to an older Nobara. All right, I won't ever be coming back here. Fumi, make sure you find a way out too. Yeah. So she's not gonna cry for me, huh? I could barely speak because of the guilt I felt for thinking something so foolish. After that day, we never spoke about Saori again. Fumi, next time we see each other, let's make sure all three of us are there. And then it shows Nobara doing her best to bite her lip and keep the tears from flowing. And Saori, and Fumi looks at Nobara, and she starts tearing up as well. And she says, yeah, goes Nobara. Then it cuts to someone in an office. Is this Saori? Oh yeah, it is, because someone says, Saori, how about taking a break? No can do. Proofs are due today. Well, I guess it's yesterday now. It's still today until morning. Oh, it's a lady saying that. It's still today until morning. She's talking crazy now. It sounds like something bad's happening in Shibuya. A terrorist attack, maybe? Huh? And then she's feeling on her shoulder a little bit. And then Saori goes, a pimple, and she thinks to herself, a pimple, and it's the unpoppable kind, not that I would pop it anyway. Senpai, do you want to get married? Why are you asking? It's just that I thought things would be different for you, you know? I moved to the boonies in my second year of junior high. Because of your family's work? No, my mom is into organic stuff and spirituality. She's quite the personality, to say the least. Oh, gotcha. I met two girls there, about 7 years younger than me. The one called Nobara really took to me. I'm an only child, so to me, she was just too cute. I'll admit it, I might have put on a bit of an act trying to impress them. I even made black tea for them, for first graders. Aw, that's cute. But I didn't exchange contact information. I guess I was afraid of slowly losing contact with them. You should have seen the tears when we said goodbye. It's just, I bet they'd be disappointed, seeing what a boring person I turned out to be. I hope Nobara's doing well. I wonder what she's up to these days. And then it cuts back to Nobara in the present. Everyone in that village is crazy. Of course, that's not true, but crazy people tend to be loud, so it seems as if they're everywhere. They trample all over the lives of the people around them. And then it shows Nobara in like this room with a bunch of chairs facing her. And then it shows Fushiguro. It shows Fushiguro, Yuji and Gojo. It shows Panda, Inumaki, and Maki. And then it shows Nobara going, or so I thought. And then it shows Yumi sitting in one of these chairs, and Fumi is looking at is sitting in these chairs looking at Nobara back then. And then Nobara goes, sorry, Fumi. Looks like I can't keep our promise. And then it cuts back to the present as Nobara's standing in front of Yuji, and Yuji's kind of sweating as Nobara goes, Itadori, tell everyone. Tell everyone it wasn't so bad. Oh. No. No. No! Nobara says, tell everyone it wasn't so bad. And then markings appear underneath the spot where Mahito touched her. And then her face. And then her face. Then her face explodes right in front of Yuji. And a little blood splatters on his face. Bruh. Dude. That's not fair. That's not fair. I heard when I bought these volumes, and one of the cashiers told me, like, when you get to the Shibuya incident, just hold on to your hats. But, dude, did we just lose Nobara and Nanami? But that's the end of chapter 125. We got to keep going. Oh, I'm not. What a way to start this read through. That's the end of chapter 125. Onwards to chapter 126. Back to the Shibuya incident, part 43. And then someone knocks some coffee over, and it cuts to Yuji, Nobara, and Fushiguro, I guess in the past, as they both go, oh man. You've done it now, Kujisaki. This is Gojo-sensei's, right? And then Nobara's just looking. And then Nobara's kind of looking stiff-lipped, going, who's really at fault here? And then both Yuji and Megumi go, you. And then they try to get the stains out. And they try to dab it out, but it just leaves Gojo's shirt looking messy.
You could pass for a Marimeko.
And then Megumi just goes, that's insulting to the fashion industry. I bet it's cheap anyway. Fushiguro, and oh wait, Nobara goes,
I bet it's cheap anyway. How much this brand costs?
And it costs 250,000 yen. And Yuji goes, tax included? Before tax. Does that matter?
Fine, I'll put in 90,000 yen. You two put in 80 each. 80,000 each. Huh?
And then it cuts to Gojo. As he goes, morning! Ijichi should have left you guys with... what's up, Megumi? Nothing. As it shows that they stuffed his shirt. They stuffed Gojo's shirt into Fushiguro's shirt. And it kind of makes him look like he's kind of top-heavy. And then it cuts to Fushiguro laughing. Oh, it cuts to Yuji laughing and Nobara laughing as Yuji pulls his shirt out of Fushiguro's shirt because he looks mad and upset. But it cuts back to the present as we see Nobara laying on the ground in front of Yuji with half of her face exploded, and she's just laying there in front of Yuji. And then it cuts to Yuji going, Kujisaki? Losing to Choso, Sukuna's rampage, Kento Nanami's death. No way. Kujisaki! Yuji Itadori's resolve had reached its limit a long time ago. Kuji! And then it cuts to Mahito going, I find my talent to be so exhilarating. Yes, I am a true curse! As it shows Mahito running towards Yuji, preparing to punch him. Black Flash! And then it shows... Did he hit Yuji? Yes. Mahito hit Yuji square in the face and sent him bouncing around inside the subway station. The sparks of black do not choose who to bless. I bet you thought you were gonna do some pest control or ghost exterminations like some make-believe story. And Mahito was just working Yuji, just bashing him all throughout the subway station. You came to Shibuya with half-cocked determination, didn't ya? How naive, you stupid brat. This is war, not a battle to fix what's wrong, but a clash of truths. You and your fragile justice. You or me, Yuji Itadori. I kill without a second thought, just like how you save people without a second thought. The instincts of a curse against the so-called dignity of obtained by human reason. It's a battle to determine who will be left standing in 100 years. And then after he's done with this rant, he goes back to his normal tone going, what's going on, Psycho? Also, Kevon D, good to see you here as well. How the heck did you think you were gonna beat me when you don't even realize that? Tell me, Yuji Itadori, have you ever stopped to count how many curses you've killed? No, right? Me neither. Like I care about how many people I've killed. I'm sure I'll eventually forget about you too! And then Mahito turns his hand into that of a pincer, and as he tries to hit Yuji, Yuji is no longer in front of him. There's a clap sound, and Yuji is gone. Oh, it's Aoi Todo! Aoi Todo used his curse technique to clap away Yuji over to where he is as he goes, The sound of Gion Shouja bells echoing the impermanence of all things. The color of the Sala flowers reveals the truth that the prosperous must decline. However, we are the exception. And then it shows Aoi Todo starting to take off his uniform, like the upper half of his uniform. What just happened? That scar on his face. We just switched places. So he's the sorcerer Hanami had a hard time with. And then it cuts to Nita running up behind Todo as she goes, Todo! I finished treating the girl. But she's probably dead. Please don't make it sound like it was my fault, okay? Enough talk. Take care of my brother here. Wake up, brother! Our battle has just begun! And then Nita says, I'm getting a bad vibe. And then it cuts to Yuji as he's like bleeding from all over, like bleeding from his eye and nose and mouth as he struggles to say, Todo. And that's the end of chapter 126. Onwards to chapter 127. The Shibuya Incident, part 44. Todo, I can't. We might as well call them the Curse Brothers. both Todo and Yuji. We might as well. I can't fight anymore. It's not just Kujisaki. Nanami is also dead. And then Nita is surprised to hear this. Nanami? A Great One sorcerer? Sukuna killed so many people. So I tried to help more people. But I couldn't do anything. I'm nothing but a murderer. What I thought was my conviction was just an excuse. Because of you, people will die. I can't forgive myself. And then as Yuji is just lamenting on the ground, Mahito tries to surprise attack him. And he goes, "Speak up, I can't hear ya!" And then as he goes in for the kill, Todo uses his curse technique to switch places with Mahito and Nita, causing Mahito to miss completely. And Todo doesn't even bat an eye, as it shows Todo clapping himself behind Mahito and then proceeding to hit Mahito with such force. And as he's sent flying towards Nita, who's still kind of airborne, he claps his hands again and switches her place with Mahito, so Mahito still gets sent flying back without, hitting her. This dude is a master of his own technique. And Mahito then struggles to, right himself after getting launched. Amazing. Even though I know how it works, it's still so disorienting. And then Todo goes, "Brother, you're a man amongst men. Don't limit yourself to such narrow-mindedness. We are Jujutsu sorcerers. You and I, Kujisaki, Mr. Nanami, all of our allies. Together we are Jujutsu sorcerers. As long as we live, our friends who have passed away will not truly have been defeated. It's not about sins or punishment. The moment we become Jujutsu sorcerers, our lives cannot be limited to such misfortunes. Looking for meaning or logic in death can at times defile the memories of those we've lost. Even so, what have you been entrusted with?" As Todo takes off his jacket. "You don't need to answer right now. However, until you find your answer, never stop moving. For those of us who live as Jujutsu sorcerers, that is the punishment we must endure. Now's not the time to tell brother about that." Oh, he said that as if referencing something else. And then Todo begins to go towards Mahito, and Nita starts to do something to Yuji.
"I just applied my curse technique on you. Listen closely, Itadori. The wounds you've endured until now won't get any worse. They aren't healed, but the bleeding has stopped and the pain should subside. But that's only for the wounds you've suffered so far. If you get hit again, you'll incur damage. My technique won't help you with those injuries. Todo's younger brother. They look nothing alike."
Oh, so Todo must have been telling everyone that Yuji's his brother, even though he's not.
"I've done the same for the girl over there. She has no pulse and isn't breathing, but not much time has passed since she received those injuries. Let's just say it's not a 0% chance she'll survive. I'm taking her and retreating." "It's not a 0% chance, okay? But please don't get your hopes up."
Oh, so is there a possibility that Nobara could be saved? We'll have to see. And Yuji just goes, "Okay." And then it cuts to Mahito shifting his body around to be like a barbed net to try and catch Todo into, but Todo appears behind Mahito and tries to grab him, and Mahito allows himself to be ripped apart so Mahito can try and grab him. And then before Mahito can grab him, Todo claps himself away. This curse technique of Todo's is so broken. Oh, I would love to play a Jujutsu game where I get to play as Aoi Todo. It would be so awesome. A JRPG or a Musou game. Even though a lot of people would probably say a fighting game, like a 2D fighting game or an arena fighter, I'd say Musou or a JRPG. But Todo goes, "What's wrong? Don't want to touch me?"
He's good, dodging my attacks while keeping his distance from the worthless Itadori. I've got some more for ya.
As it appears that Mahito dropped a transfigured human behind Todo, and he tries to hit Todo, but Todo just easily dodges it.
He still dodged it? Come on and switch. I'll figure it out. I'll guess it right. I want to do it again. I'm so close I can feel it. The true essence of my soul.
And then Todo claps his hands, and the person that appears in front of Mahito is Yuji, as Yuji starts to gather cursed energy in his fists. "You've got it from here."
I'm sorry, Nanamine. I was about to take the easy way out. I was about to use my sins as an excuse to run away. And then it shows Yuji with a massive look on his face as he stares at Mahito as he prepares to punch him. And then he hits Mahito square in the chest with Black Flash in a beautifully drawn double spread panel here. And he's hitting Mahito so hard that the energy is rippling through his body, even causing his arm to, like, take some damage as well. I'll be sure to take on your share of suffering too, Nanami. And then he sends Mahito flying backwards, causing with a disfigured arm as well. Back from the dead. Yeah. Welcome back, says Todo as he rips his shirt off. And that's the end of chapter 127. Onwards to 128. The Shibuya Incident, part 45. The battle will be settled any minute now. There's no point in heading to Shibuya anymore. Oh wait, this is Mekamaru speaking to Miwa. The battle will be settled any minute now. There's no point in heading to Shibuya anymore. Turn back, Miwa. And Miwa is sitting on a subway. As she goes, why only Todo, Senpai and Nita? There's a 99% chance that Todo will survive in Shibuya. The same goes for Nita, who's accompanying Todo. His curse technique will be useful too. Am I useless? The situation has gotten out of hand. It's not just you. Oh, I forgot my phone was on my bookshelf. The situation has gotten out of hand. It's not just you. Mai, Kamo, Nishimiya, and even Utahime. I doctored the records to make sure everyone would be on a mission south of Kyoto on the 31st. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you trust and confer with us? Aren't we in this together? Is it because I'm weak? No, I'm the weak one. I made a mistake because I'm weak, and I couldn't even go through with that mistake because I'm weak. There was someone I loved. I thought it didn't matter what world we lived in as long as I was by her side, protecting her. Even though I might not be the one who she wanted protecting her. It's time, Miwa. No! Goodbye. Thank you for... Please don't say goodbye! Miwa, find your happiness. And then it shows Mekamaru as he, in his real body, as if he's sitting right next to Miwa. And this is his real body speaking. No matter how you do it, if you're happy, my wish will have come true. And then it just shows Miwa tearing up and crying as she looks into the reflection of the subway she's on, and she just says, Mekamaru. And she grits her teeth. Then it shows the Kyoto school, Jujutsu school, as Momo, Mai, Kamo, and Utahime are standing there, with Mai going, Utahime-sensei, what Mekamaru did. And Utahime goes, it doesn't matter anymore. He's dead after all. And then Kamo goes, he doesn't expect much from us, that Mekamaru. And Momo goes, yeah, going on about how Todo won't die, or how we would, that doesn't matter. Whoever makes my cute junior cry will die. And then it shows Miwa crying her eyes out as we cut back to Yuji versus Mahito. And Mahito keeps trying to hit Yuji, and Yuji's blocking it as Mahito is fighting both Todo and Yuji at the same time. And Todo's using his curse technique to, keep them from getting hit by any attack from Mahito. The top-knot gorilla's soul is at full health. Can I kill him with one touch in the state I'm in? I'd say Itadori's soul is about 10%. And I'm at 40%. My double being crushed, the rush of attacks in that Black Flash hit took a lot out of me. All because of that stupid girl. For a nobody, she really left her mark. I need to take care of this switching first. As it shows him defending himself between Todo, and then he throws a disfigured human in the path of Yuji, but Todo uses his curse technique to switch places with the disfigured human, causing Mahito to slice through his own transfigured human, making it null and void. Let's go! I'm sorry, y'all.
This story is so good. It really is.
Switching places with a non-living target? He can even pick up on the cursed energy of a transfigured human before it's released? If you're okay with the way you are now, our friendship won't last. Even this cursed spirit uses Black Flash. The one who is now being left behind is me. You've gotten
oh, wait. This is, I guess, someone is saying this.
You've gotten strong, brother. Are you gonna sit still, Aoi Todo? Are you gonna let your brother feel alone again, Aoi Todo?
And then Todo uses Black Flash and hits Mahito and sends him flying backwards.
It doesn't matter how strong your attack is. Using Black Flash has no effect if you can't hit my soul.
But now all three have brought out 120% of their potential, as it appears that all three of them are preparing to go all out. Yuji is brimming with energy, Todo is brimming with energy, and Mahito is brimming with energy. And then it shows Mahito spitting out a whole bunch of transfigured humans in his enlarged hands.
Soul multiplicity!
Body repel! And we've seen him use this attack before, but he uses it in front of Todo and Yuji. And then the ground rumbles underground as it shows Yuji and Todo getting thrown into the air or getting launched into the air by all these soul repels by Mahito.
Countering my switch by attacking from all sides. How much does this guy have in reserve? Time to kick it up a notch, Itadori. This is our last chance to curse each other.
And that is the end of chapter 128, onwards to chapter 129, the Shibuya Incident, part 46.
Time to kick it up a notch, Itadori. This could be our last chance to curse each other.
And then it shows Mahito and everyone else in this, like, fleshy web that's attached between these two buildings out of the hole that just erupted from the subway station. And then Todo goes, "Hey now, did you forget about me?" As it shows Todo grabbing onto Mahito and grabbing him. But before anything happens, he dismembers his own body in order to keep himself from being hit by Yuji. And Yuji goes, "Dismemberment?" And they both dodge away from the dismembered body of Mahito as it tries to blindly slash away at both Todo and Yuji. And then it shows all the parts of Mahito joining back together again.
Soul multiplicity.
The souls with weak rejection come together to form one body. Polymorphic soul isomer. Polymorphic soul isomer. Yeah. Polymorphic soul isomer. And Mahito creates his own transfigured human in this big body shape directly in front of him. And Todo just goes, "A transfigured human." And it shows Yuji clashing. It shows Yuji clashing with Mahito while Todo is dealing with the soul isomer. There's no way it's a simple 50-50 split. Considering he was able to keep brother and me at bay, it's most likely an 80-20 split of strength. Because remember, not only did Mahito gain his body back, but the other part of him that dismembered turned into its own transfigured state, and that's attacking them as well. So there's 3 different versions of Mahito that's along with the transfigured isomer. There's 2 different versions of Mahito, while a transfigured human is also attacking them as well. So it's 3 against 2 right now. The fact that he uses curse technique despite keeping his distance must mean that the weakened 20% is the real body. I'll leave that one for brother to finish off. I'd say the transfigured human is around a grade 2 or 3. Let's take care of it quickly, Aoi Todo. And then it shows Aoi Todo getting hit by this soul isomer. And this surprises him.
What?
Todo! You underestimated me! And then the soul isomer launches Todo across into a distant building. And Todo gets tossed. He gets tossed straight through this building into another building with enough resounding force to get launched back outside again. And then the soul isomer is right there in front of Todo, preparing to bear down on him. And then it lands in front of him, and then Todo tosses a rock at it. Then he claps, and then he's right behind the soul isomer, and then he just brings his fist down on it and just takes it out.
It's dead? All that power and only took one hit? I get it. That explosive power was a result of expending so many souls at once. Transfigured human attack specialists. And there, 2 more.
And then it shows 2 more soul isomers in front of Todo as he goes,
"Forgive me, you poor souls."
Then it cuts back to Mahito versus Yuji.
I'm finally free of that top-knot gorilla. Time to pile it on!
And it shows Mahito doing soul repel, but he's also putting jagged edges on the repel as well as he launches it towards Yuji. And Yuji dodges all of it as he clashes with Mahito again. But as he clashes with Mahito, Mahito grabs his leg and proceeds to throw him with extreme force into the ground a distance away from him, causing a massive impact explosion. And then as Yuji is bouncing from this, Mahito is right behind him. But then he gets upset and looks angry because Todo has already caught up with Yuji, going,
"You really don't want me to join in on the fun, huh?"
Because apparently Todo didn't waste no time. He got rid of all the isomers and just joined up with Yuji in this one instance.
Even 2 polymorphic soul isomers weren't enough. It's gonna be hard landing a hit on him. That said, if I use domain expansion, I'll be killed by Sukuna. Barrier techniques are complicated. I don't have the skill to exclude Itadori from the domain. So, what to do? I learned this from that guy. Domain expansion. Self-embodiment of perfection. Isn't this suicide?
It's all or nothing. A domain expansion of 0.2 seconds. Oh, so he's taking he's copying what Gojo did. He's copying what Gojo did. A domain expansion of 0.2 seconds. And that's the end of chapter 129. Onwards to chapter 130. The Shibuya Incident Part 47. It's all or nothing. A domain expansion of 0.2 seconds. And then it cuts to Todo as it gets narrated. Todo defended against the domain by casting a simple domain he learned from Yuki Tsukumo. That's her last name. Yuji was even faster, already running towards Mahito to exercise him before he could activate Idle Transfiguration. But the fastest was Mahito, who had already activated his curse technique. The realization of an innate domain, plus the activation of a curse technique. The 2-step process was shortened to 1. Thanks to his awakening due to Black Flash, Mahito managed to pull off this sublimely fast maneuver. And in this, Mahito comes face to face with Sukuna. He comes face to face with Sukuna as if he's in Malevolent Shrine. I take it I'm safe here, right, Sukuna? It is you we're talking about after all. Surely you have some sort of understanding with Itadori. But I won't let that happen. He'll be dead before you can switch with him, so just shut up and watch. And then it cuts to Todo as he's starting to get inside this domain, and his arm starts to shift a little bit as Yuji's rushing him. And Yuji turns back and goes, "Todo!" And then Mahito comes up and hits Yuji. But before anything happens to Todo, he cuts off his own hand. Like with his hand. He literally cuts off his own hand with his hand before his arm completely transfigures. But then it looks like one part of it stretches out and still touches him, still. And Mahito goes,
Hey, I just improved that for you.
Sorry, I was trying to see what exactly happened. After using domain expansion, the user's innate curse technique becomes temporarily disabled and uncontrollable. Mahito realized this back when he fled at Satozakura High. And as Mahito is rushing Todo, he hits Todo with Black Flash and sends Todo flying backwards.
You gotta be kidding. He instinctively concentrated all his cursed energy to his stomach to minimize the damage.
So Todo concentrated all his curse technique to resist Black Flash, but it still really hurt him because he's just spitting up tons of blood right now.
My cursed technique is back, and he can't clap his hands. Time to end him with idle transfiguration.
And then the necklace that Todo had on his neck, it snaps and then it falls to the ground. And then inside, it's a picture necklace that shows the idol that Todo loves and Yuji in there. And this kind of surprises Mahito as Todo uses his available hand to clap together, and he's still able to use his curse technique as he switches places with Mahito. And before Mahito can even think the words crap, Yuji hits Mahito square in the face with Black Flash. And then Todo, laying on the ground, looks at his sizzling hand as he looks at it and goes,
"Huh, I touched him for a moment. It's a miracle I got away with just this."
And then Yuji's going,
"Leave it to me, Todo, and thank you."
And then it cuts to Mahito as he uses Soul Multiplicity, Polymorphic Soul Isomer. And it shows it running up to Yuji as it tries to hit Yuji. And as this is going on, Mahito is watching all this go down as he goes,
"Come on, getting hit with a Black Flash now? That gorilla was a pain in the butt till the very end, but I finally found it. The true essence of my soul, its true form."
And then it shows something happening as Yuji is knocking away the Soul Isomer. And then it shows Mahito just brimming with power as we get the words,
"Idle transfiguration.
Instant spirit body of distorted killing." And Mahito kind of makes his body look reminiscent of Hanami's in a way. Like the upper half of Mahito's face looks like that of Hanami to a degree. And the rest of his body is transformed. It's very, very muscular. His body is enlarged even more. As Mahito goes,
"How about wishing me a happy birthday, Itadori?"
And that is the end of chapter 130, onwards to chapter 131. So much is happening right now. Chapter 131, the Shibuya Incident, part 48. And Yuji's just thinking, it's different from any transfiguration he used before. What's going on? And Mahito is just standing there in a transformed state. Like, he even has a tail. He has, like, multiple blades out of his arms. And he has, like, this energy coming out the back of his head as if he has a top knot.
"How about wishing me a happy birthday, Itadori? Now that I've learned Black Flash, I finally understand my true unbridled soul."
That's a surprise. Didn't figure you were the type for a journey of self-discovery.
True, but I'm just getting started. Once I kill you, then I will truly be born.
And then it shows Mahito swinging his arm, and then a ginormous wave just erupts from him just swinging his arm. And Yuji tries to kick him. He dodges this wave. He dodges and tries to kick Mahito in this state. But Mahito's like hair, energy ribbons that's coming out of the back of his head. They wrap around Yuji's foot And as that happens, I think he cuts into Yuji's foot, and then he uses his tail to try and hit Yuji, which Yuji blocks with his knee. And then they prepare to punch with one another as Yuji blocks away this hit and hits Mahito in his side. But nothing happens. He barely punches into the body of Mahito as he goes, so tough. His body's even harder than that time. And then as Mahito blocks away his arm, he hits Yuji and knocks him back away, injuring Yuji's arm in the process. I finally understand my true unbridled soul. Could it be? He's already... And it shows Mahito just hitting Yuji all over. My attacks don't reach him. Which chapter am I reading? I am on chapter 131. Chapter 131, the Shibuya Incident, part 48. That's what I'm on. My attacks don't reach him. As a cursed spirit, he's becoming something completely different than before his transformation. This is like Muzan near the end of Demon Slayer. Also, I forgot to say this 47 minutes ago. If you guys want to see what I'm reading, either go to the official site on Viz or go to a website of your choice. But as I always say, support the official release. But as he's thinking about how Mahito is turned into something completely different, Mahito grabs his face and then just choke slams him into the ground with enough force to just implode the ground they're on. In order to beat him, I need to use Black Flash. I need to hit him with Black Flash imbued with my maximum cursed energy. There's not a single Jujutsu sorcerer who can use it at will. And then it shows something happening to Yuji as his foot kind of sinks into the ground a little bit. And then something happens to Mahito as some of his energy that's coming out of his arm gets sliced off as well, and then it shows him coughing up blood. Yeah, it shows Mahito coughing up blood. Even if it was for a moment, getting hit by Black Flash immediately after casting Domain Expansion did some serious damage. And then it shows Mahito licking the blood off of himself. And then it shows Yuji hitting his leg to keep it from trembling. And then Mahito goes, looks like you and I still got a lot left in the tank. And then Yuji brings his hands together as Mahito launches at him. And Yuji gathers this energy in his hands, and he blocks the punch from Mahito as they come to get close to punching one another. Like the last panel we see in this chapter are them preparing to punch one another. And that is the end of chapter 131. Onwards to chapter 132, the Shibuya Incident, part 49. There is not a single Jujutsu sorcerer who can use Black Flash at will. However, in this fight, Itadori is so amazing that he makes you think that's what he's doing. Itadori will use Black Flash. Going in recklessly means my demise. However, I've already set in motion a countermeasure. As it shows him transforming a part of his face into like his regular body. Like half of his face is normal, and then his arm transforms to be normal again. I'll metamorphose and avoid the attack aimed at my sweet spot. I'll then use cursed energy to reinforce the area I've deactivated with instant spirit body of distorted killing. Itadori focused his cursed energy into his fist, so I'll counter with a strike at his neck and end it. And then it looks like Mahito is preparing to hit Yuji in his net. I win! And it looks like the hit is about to hit his neck. But then all of a sudden, an impact hits Mahito out of nowhere. And he goes, a delayed second impact? And this causes Mahito to miss Yuji. And then we get an explanation. Divergent Fist was born out of Yuji Itadori's bad habits, but he lost the technique as his manipulation of cursed energy improved. However, ever since his fight with Choso, Yuji Itadori has been able to control Divergent Fists. Ooh, he improved when he was fighting Choso. Let's go. And then it shows Mahito looking wide-eyed at Yuji. Listen closely, cursed spirit. There is no way you do not know this. Oh, it's Toto! Listen closely, cursed spirit. There is no way you do not know this. And then it shows Toto standing above the crater where Yuji and Mahito are fighting. An arm is merely a decoration. The act of applause is an acclamation of the soul. And then he claps the stub of where his left hand used to be with his right hand, and it still manages. He still manages to clap, but he doesn't do anything. As Yuji gathers up energy in his fists, and as Mahito is looking where Yuji used to be, and he thinks that Yuji is going to appear in another spot. Toto pulled this trick when they were fighting Hanami the first time during the sister event. He did this move. He fooled Hanami with this, thinking that, hey, you're going to keep clapping. I'm going to keep clapping. I'm going to know where you are. And then Toto clapped his hands, but nothing happened. He did the same thing to Hanami back then. Because when he clapped his hands, Yuji's still next to Mahito, and Mahito was expecting him to appear on his reverse side. We didn't switch. Sorry, my boogie-woogie curse technique is already dead. And then it shows Yuji hitting Mahito dead center with Black Flash, causing Mahito, even in his transfigured state, to spew out a whole bunch of blood, sending Mahito flying out of the crater. And Mahito digs his hands into the ground in order to stop himself. And he's huffing and puffing, and he's gone back to he's lost all his transformations. He lost everything, and he's sitting here in front of Yuji. Not yet. And he's trying to cough up any transfigured humans, but none are falling out. He used up all of his transfigured humans. I'm also out of transfigured humans. And then it cuts to Yuji as he goes, You're right, Mahito. I'm you. I wanted to reject you, convince myself that you were wrong. But that doesn't matter now. I'm gonna kill you. Even if you come back as another curse, I'll kill you. Change your name. Change your form. I'll kill you again. I don't need to find meaning or a reason. Maybe 100 years after my death, the meaning behind my actions will become apparent. In the grand scheme of things, I'm probably nothing more than a cog. But I'll keep killing curses for as long as I can. That's my role in all this. Woo! He's just talking to him. Oh, you better talk to me, Tadori! Ooh, I love this! And then it shows Mahito, with what energy he has, running away, trying to run away from Yuji. Crazed look in his eye, frantically. And then it shows the eye of a rabbit and the eye of a wolf. As then the landscape changes, Then the landscape changes as if Yuji is chasing Mahito in an open snow field. And then the eyes of a wolf appear in front of Mahito, and Geto appears in front of him, just out of nowhere. What? Geto just appears right out of nowhere, just directly in front of Mahito. And then Yuji is surprised to see him, and then Mahito goes, Geto! And then Geto goes, Shall I save you, Mahito? And that's the end of chapter 132, onwards to chapter 133. 133. Then we get some descriptions about Mahito's unbridled soul. This is awesome. Instant spirit body of distorted killing. Mahito's unbridled soul, 200% tougher than his original form, according to his own estimates. A binding vow further increases his toughness in exchange for halting his metamorphosis. Only his hands are like their original form. In other words, even when an instant spirit body of distorted killing, he can use idle transfiguration. And then it cuts to the blades that's coming out of his arms. Due to a binding vow shortening the metamorphosis cycle, he hardly sacrifices any toughness even when catching opponents at a moderate distance. It's sort of like Seku Kogetsu from World Trigger, so I didn't include an explanation in the manga. If Itadori hadn't nailed him with Black Flash, Mahito would have torn him to shreds. So, that we got a little bit of an explanation of instant spirit body of distorted killing. Chapter 133, the Shibuya Incident, Part 50. 11:09 p.m. Basement, the 5th basement floor, Fukutoshin Line, platform Shibuya Station in Tokyo Metro, and it cuts to Nita, as she was with Toto before all this stuff happened.
These people. They're alive, right?
Walking with Toto, and as they're walking through, they see an impact crater where the prison realm that Goto is trapped in was sitting, because that's gone now. It seems that Sukuru Geto has already left with the prison realm.
No.
And then Toto goes, let's move on. This fight's goal has changed from retrieving Satoru Gojo to saving our allies and whittling down the enemy forces. Let's hurry, knowing brother he's nearby.
He has a brother? I thought he was an only child.
Then it cuts to 11:28 in front of the Shibuya stream, which is also where the giant meteor that Jogo dropped down is sitting. And it cuts to Panda and Kusakabe. Kusakabe! Oh, found you. And Kusakabe is just laying with his sword underneath some rubble, not moving at all. Panda, no one told us about that. Huh? I'm talking about Itadori. No, that was Sukuna.
But Itadori has control over the flesh. Isn't that what they said?
I'm telling you right now.
If Gojo disappears, no matter what punishment Itadori receives, I won't join Itadori's side.
I believe that Yuji Itadori should get the death penalty. And then these chapters are like old school Dragon Ball Z, where 50 chapters all in one day of the Boost Saga. You can hear hear Goku still screaming. Then we cut to 10:36 p.m. local time, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and it cuts to May. Cuts to May in bed.
And she says, sorry, you must be tired, Ui Ui. Shall I stay in bed with you all day?
Oh my, how shameless.
Do you not like me this way?
No, that's not...
Sorry, someone's calling me back.
Aw, sis.
Because for some reason, May is just laying up in bed with no clothes on. Questions. I have questions, but now is not the time for me to think about it. And she gets on the phone.
Sorry to bother you at night. Oh, it's morning there? Me? Kuala Lumpur. Yes, Ui Ui's curse technique. We almost got killed. You should sell all Japanese stock in Tokyo real estate. I already exchanged all my yen.
Yes, immediately.
A negative chain reaction affecting major developed nations may be unavoidable. After all, Japan is the world's third largest economy. I leave the details to you. No, don't thank me, but keep it on the inside as usual. We'll do business again.
And then it cuts to Yuji as he's going, what's wrong, brother? You feel unwell? And apparently we're cutting to Choso, who's just sitting in Shibuya Station as he's thinking about these false memories that Yuji is a part of, in his mind going, I have to go. Yuji Itadori, what are you? 11:28 p.m. Basement 3, floor B3. I'm just going to call it B3. Floor B3, Shibuya Station. Yuji Itadori, what are you? I have to know. And what am I? And then it cuts to Geto directly in front of Mahito. We come back to the present. Shall I save you, Mahito? 11:36 p.m. at the remains of the Shibuya police station, Udagawa police box. Give him back! Did Mahito say Geto? He's got a Buddhist robe and a scar on his forehead. If he's here, then... Give back Gojo-sensei! In the mid-Edo period, people believed there was a mysterious connection between catfish and earthquakes. They believe that a giant catfish moving underground was the cause of earthquakes, as something starts to come out of Gato's hand. And then, all of a sudden, the ground underneath Yuji completely opens up into like a massive chasm, and he falls down deep into the ground. Or at least he thinks he did. Because he's normal. Huh? What just happened? Did you think you had fallen? Seen from the side, you just suddenly flipped over. The strength of cursed spirit manipulation lies in the great number of moves at my disposal. I wield multiple cursed spirits of semi-grade 1 and higher, and may simply release more when opponents solve the cursed techniques and overcome them. Of course, I don't have to let that happen, and may simply pile on the attacks. As the shadows underneath Gato just erupt into like tentacles that try to envelop Yuji. No, it's not tentacles, it's multiple centipedes that grab onto Yuji, and then the hole that was underneath him drops. It makes it look like he's dropping into it again, and then it just shows Yuji getting piled on with tons of cursed spirits all over. Last year, during the night parade of 100 demons, if the forces hadn't been divided between Shinjuku and Kyoto, he would have won instead of Okotsu. I guess you had nothing to do with it, as it shows Yuji massively scarred and bloodied after being barraged by a whole bunch of dangerous spirits that Gato just dropped on him. He just unleashed a whole torrent and just dropped it on Yuji. This is like overkill. And then Yuji just goes, "Give him back." Even I'm impressed. Sukuna's vessel is tough. And then it shows Mahito trying to... Is he trying to grab Gato? He tried to touch Gato. And Gato dodges out of the way. I knew that, after all. Oh no, wait, this is Mahito saying, I knew that. After all, I was born of humans. And then it shows Gato taking control of Mahito and turning him into a sphere that he can consume. Is he about to eat Mahito? And then Gato just says, shall we begin? Shall we continue? Let us discuss the world to come. What? Yo, Mahito tried to grab onto Gato. Gato dodged him. And then turns him into a sphere that he can eat. And then just looks at Yuji and goes, shall we continue? Let us discuss the world to come. And that's it. That's to be continued. What? What? Oh, what? Yo, Stritzy, good to see you. Going to the beginning so you can watch from the start. Just wanted to say what's up. Good to see you as always. You don't know how this happened, but you have a character in Marvel Puzzle as Oscorp Spider-Man. Interesting. All right, so we're done with volume 15 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I only have one more physical volume to read, and then I have fully caught up with the physical volumes, but I haven't caught up with the chapters as a whole. So I still have a ways to go. But I'm making progress. Oh my goodness, I'm making progress. So let's go over the things that happened. Nobara's face, like half her face got blown up. We got a little bit of her history. Mahito used an instant spirit body of distorted killing to try and fight Yuji, and it wasn't enough. And he ran out of transfigured humans. Aoi Todo lost a left hand. Yuji comes face to face with Gato, and Gato just barrages Yuji with countless amounts of spirits, and Yuji is just barely able to get up from it. And Gato just comments on how tough he is because he's Sukuna's vessel. And then, when Mahito looks like he's about to grab onto Gato, Gato dodges and then just turns Mahito into an orb, which he usually does to spirits that he wants to consume and take control of. He turns him into an orb, and then he says, all right, shall we continue? Let's discuss the world to come. Like, so much to process. This is so much to process that just happened in this volume, and I still got volume 16 to go through. Oh my goodness. So many things are ramping up for this story, and I'm actually looking forward to the next one. But let me not keep you all here any longer than I already have. All I know is that Jujutsu is ramping up. It really is. And seeing all these things happen just makes me want a Jujutsu video game more and more. Hopefully we get one in the future. But I'm enjoying this series. I am so glad I decided to read up and check out Jujutsu Kaisen, especially with you guys' suggestion. I am thankful that you guys told me about this. I'm glad I watched the anime, and I'm almost caught up with the physical volumes, and then we'll work on the chapters themselves. Depending on what chapter I stop on in the 16th volume, I may just do one big massive stream where I just read through all of the chapters and then catch up completely in one fell swoop. I'll decide after my next Jujutsu stream, but we'll start from there. But overall, I enjoyed today's Jujutsu session, and I'm looking forward to the next one next week. Also, just a bit of a shout out. You was hoping the same thing. They should make it like Devil May Cry. Make it like Devil May Cry. Make it like a Musou game, or make it like a JRPG. Hopefully they don't try to make it into like a mobile game, because we got enough of those already. But I would very much like a Jujutsu Kaisen video game, console-wise specifically. But also, today is a very special day because it's my mother's birthday today. So I'll be spending a little bit of time with her. She's getting pampered. She's getting all sorts of things done for her today. So that's going to be a special day for her where she gets to chill and relax. Also later, possibly at either 2 or 3, I'll set it later, we're going to continue with more Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild today. And then tomorrow, since tomorrow will be Friday, we will continue with more of the beginning after the end. And then on Saturday, I think I said I was going to do that Q&A stream, that personal Q&A stream. So a lot of things that are going to be happening this week. But overall, more fun for me, and hopefully more fun for you. So all I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel, and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. Oh boy, this series just never ceases to surprise me.